Today, we are fortunate to invite Ms. Haniza Binti Hisham to share her business nature, artwork, and the space used to produce batik products. And Ms. Haniza Binti Hisham, also known as Nysa, KL born, she left her city life and moved to a small little kampong after marrying the love of her life. After living and embracing the new kampong life, Nysa found the beauty of handmade batiks, which were worn by local Terengganu people. After a year of understanding this old and traditional culture, Nysa founded the Handblocked Batik Method, also known as the Seni Batik Terap, will slowly become a dying art. Hearing the untold story from local batik makers around Kuala Terengganu, Nysa quickly built her dream, a local kampung batik brand called Nysakapas that will brighten the future of handmade batiks are focusing on hand-block batik method. After 7 years in the handmade batik industry, Nysa is all about promoting the beauty of making clothes from hands, and she makes sure artisans who are of young age from her local neighborhoods understand the importance of practicing the traditional arts of batik making and how to sustain the hard labor of work in a long time to come. So now let us welcome Ms. Nysa to give a speech.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, UCSI, for inviting me. And hi to all the students from the School of Architecture, Build and Environment, right? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead with an introduction about myself, a short one, and what I do. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Is there someone talking? Then I know that I'm okay. Okay. So I'm actually from KL. I'm from Ampang. I happened to marry my husband, who I met here in Terengganu when I was here. Back in 2010, I was here. I was actually out of work because I just stopped finishing my practice dekat an architecture firm because I have a background in architecture from UITM, Sri Iskandar, Perak for about 4 years, and then I went to Shah Alam for a while, and then I went to work, and then when I was working, in a very, very big firm. So I got to see how a huge firm, how they work and juggle their work. So I think that kind of made me feel very small and a little bit, I found that it wasn't really something that I was aiming for at life at that moment. So I took a break. I didn't continue my studies, and then I went followed some of my studio mates to Terengganu, and then I don't know, I happened to meet my husband, and then I got married, and then I'm stuck here, and I'm making batiks. And you might think that from architecture, I'm like transitioning to batik, like it's a huge it's like a question mark, like a big gap, but actually throughout my years, at first when I was here living the kampung life, it's a culture shock because I'm from city, kan? I have to say it's a culture shock for me because of the way how Terengganu people, the way they live is so simple compared to how I was living in KL. And then, yeah, see, got chicken. Okay. And so, I got kids, and the way I see my kids, the way they live in a kampung environment, because even the way that every single thing that that is the way it is in Terengganu is just what Nysakapas is all about. We are what I went through in life and what is been going on until today, Alhamdulillah, that's Nysakapas. It's everything has got to do with me being a kampung homemaker, and I make batiks. I make it with my young artisans. They're all apa, sekolah menengah graduates actually. So they didn't get to pursue their studies in university or college or anything. So they wanted to work with me to do the art. So what I'm doing is I'm creating, I don't have a lot of artisans, but I've gone through a lot of young workers who are supposed to be artisans, because I've done this from 7 years, and I've been growing and learning at the same time to how to teach them to be artisans, because they're all tak ada base in I can say tak ada base in batik. Same as me, I tak ada basic in batik making. It's totally different from architecture, but what I said before, Nysakapas is all about my journey. So whatever I've done from architecture, because I was very into conservation, was very into history class. History class is so boring, but I really like history class. And then I wasn't so much into structure and all that. But I love designing. So apart from my design work, which I've done earlier, in university days, I put it in Nysakapas. So whatever you see at the back here is our batiks, which I designed on my own. So that's what I've been doing. Besides promoting handmade batiks using hand-block methods, actually, chanting came like last 2 years, because I wanted to create chanting pieces, because sometimes chanting ada dia punya boleh dikatakan ada dia punya dia ada pros and cons. Hand blocking, not say pros and cons, macam kelebihan. Like for batik making for chanting, ada macam style dia macam ni, and then for hand blocking, dia macam ni kebaikan dia. But whatever is, the two system, hand blocking and chanting, which we do at Nysakapas, is a totally different style of work. So, and I also do natural dye. Meaning I make my own natural dyes from local plants. Contohnya, what I've done with like kulit manggis, I've done with daun mempelam. I've done with a lot of local plants. I don't use dyes from other countries like macam indigo and all that. I don't use. I make my own dye, and I also use natural beeswax as to make chanting, and I've also done it with hand blocking. So I've got lots of like hand blocking and chanting using batik dyes, and I've also got another one which is natural dyes using natural beeswax. So that's what Nysakapas is about. We're just a brand, a batik brand, a local batik brand from Terengganu, and what we do is just to explore, and then we share it on our Instagram. Our Instagram is our #1 social media platform, where we share, and then we cerita all our journey from day to day. Is really day to day, even sometimes hour by hours, because people are so interested and they want to be connected to handmade batiks, because I think what our society, I'm not sure, I'm just gonna say general, but I think what people think, the society, they think that batik is something that is colorful or filled with flowers, but actually if you're in Terengganu, when we say batik is handmade batiks, we do not say that it is something from digital, or we don't say it's from screen printing. No, when you come to Terengganu, the first thing, if you say batik, they know that you're talking about the man that made batik by hand, which is at the Kampung. That's the perception dekat society dekat sini. Yeah, so I've been doing this for 7, can't believe I'm saying it, but 7 years. I feel very old. And 7 years is a lot of ups and downs for Nysakapas, and I have to say that I'm just going to share that it hasn't been so hard, but since the pandemic, because of COVID-19, it's been really hard for us because we are a very small brand. How we going to be successful throughout this pandemic is a whole new era for us because it's a different. It's not like the usual way to promote, and to make batiks also is very hard because we make everything by hand. How we're supposed to work together as a team of artisans making batiks, you know. So yeah, so that's a few things about Nysakapas. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else? Should I?
Nysa,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your journey on
Okay, Ida.
Nysakapas. I think one of the things that I feel that was very like caught my attention was that how you were using a natural dye, because I follow Nysa, okay, on Instagram, and I think the video on how she uses natural dye was actually very interesting, in terms of having something that is more sustainable rather than using something chemical. Can you talk more about
Natural
how,
dye.
what are the types of natural dye that you have been using so far, and all this process, how what kind how did you find this process and such?
Okay, when I started the natural dye, it actually began when I started exploring batik dyes at first. I was macam deciding, am I going to do batik dyes or am I going to do natural dyes? It was as early as the first stage of exploring Nysakapas, which was in 2016. It was the first phase. Was I going to decide on this or that? Then I decided to go with batik dyes because it was macam I was more confident in that. So after the years, 7 years of tengok macam mana kita work and how artisans hold chemical dyes, because batik dyes is chemical. I think everybody knows it's synthetic dyes. But I just want to say that these dyes are not as dangerous as there's another type of dye which people use to make sarung. That one is very dangerous. That one may give you skin infection and all. I'm not saying this to macam nak criticize other artisans' work. It's just what I know. So we use chanting dyes. What chanting dyes and the deep dyes is very different. So the deep dyes are very dangerous. So bila Nysa tahu pasal ni over the years, memang nak buat sangat the sustainable, not just because it's sustainable but healthier way for us. Not just of dyes tau, dia macam including the wax. The wax actually is very dangerous and harmful if you are breathing it always. So it's always on my mind. I understand I'm full responsible for all of my artisans, but that's why Nysakapas, we are in an open space. We're not closed like some batik makers where they are all closed in one corner. We are not like that. We are more open. I shall show you around later, okay? And then for the dyes, if you see that kita orang kalau buat batik dyes, I just explain first why I went to natural dye. Kita memang one color. Usually the most is 2. Because of the amount of dye, the chemical used, we want to reduce it. So that's why you always see Nysakapas is one tone, very simple. Our color, we incorporate very pastel colors because pastel colors sikit saja dye compared to the dyes yang very deep color, like red is very too much dye, boleh dikatakan. That's why kita ada problem bila buat red batiks. Dia ada the colour we say macam muntah, dia macam excessive sangat. So dia selalu ada masalah. Red dyes, red batiks memang kita jarang buat. Macam tu lah, boleh dikatakan macam tu. So when I did natural dye, I actually started last year before COVID-19 hit the world. I went to Kelantan and I learned from Datuk Guru. He's very famous dekat Kelantan. And Awang Aziz. And it was also very funny because I was also going through macam a spiritual phase. So when I saw him and I learned from him, I thought I was going to a class. But what I was going through was actually macam a spiritual class because he taught natural dye in a very spiritual way. So you know how nature, if you see like a tree, it has its very own identity. Just the same as you see any flower or anything that is alive, that when you pluck it dies, right? But the root of it is something that has spirit. Now everything that is created, it has an identity. And why I'm saying this is because it really reflects on the natural dye work that we do, because I've tested for I think 2 years sampai I nak give up actually with natural dye, because it was so hard to explain to my artisan from chemical to natural dye. Macam mana dia nak understand, nak pecahkan dia punya mindset that natural dye is a whole different thing that Nysakapas has never done. It's different, it's totally different. The way we have to prepare the natural dye. So to cut short lah, I had to understand the spiritual way of making natural dyes. It's not like painting, like watercolor, or it's not like the usual batik dye where you paint with a brush and all that. There's so many, it actually relates more to science, spiritual. You have to know the identity of the plant. So it's very, very crucial, macam like for instance, and you need a lot of patience when you do natural dye. So, and every plant is different. For example, I want to do using onion skin. Not all onion skin is the same. There are purple skins, there are orange, there is even brown, there is even like a light shade of pink. And every time you do it, even though you dah suka ke, you dah go by the grams, you know, you weigh it, it will never be the same because everything that is created is different. Just like me and you have to see it like that. So if you want to do with this pokok mempelam, this mango tree, and the next mango tree that you meet, it's not the same. It's not a difficulty. It's just something we have to put in our mindset that natural dye is different all the time, and it's not consistent. The beauty is that you are exploring the plant, and at the same time you're getting natural colors that is actually a wide range of colors that you can't even do with batik dyes. You can't get that really subtle pink that you do with dyes, with batik dyes. So the colors that you can get is amazing from plants, plant-based dyes. And the best thing, I have to say, the best thing about natural dyes is no chemicals. The best is so, the feeling is so it's so apa macam very deep for us. I don't know because we make batiks every day kan. So kita rasa macam like, oh, there is another way to be safe. Like me, I will, because macam kita punya color fixing using the batik dyes, dia memang very harmful. It's like you pegang Clorox, but you pegang with your hands and they're very gel, they're very heavy substance on your hands. When you touch it, memang you kena pakai glove. Tapi our artisans, they don't like using the glove. I'm not saying because I asked them not to. They decide how to do their work. So bila dia pegang kain tu, dia tak suka pegang dengan gloves. And not only that, bila dia pegang gloves, they cannot reach the kain because there's wax. You imagine the wax and then the kain with the gel.
Texture.
Yeah,
So it's very hard to.
Yeah, they want to remove the gel fully. Sebab when you do batik making, the color fixing process where you the batik is in that gel and then you have to wash that gel. That's the step. It's like dia perak dalam gel tu for a few hours and then you have to wash it off. And the part that I always tell them about natural dye yang sangat bagus is dia tak ada step nak color fixing tu, which is amazing. That that we don't have to do that process of color fixing because natural dye dia dah ada dia punya own fixer. Fixer dia semua natural, macam kapur from lime. You can fix from that, and you can there's some they also use alum, which is also natural stone. But the thing is that why we are not doing natural dye, because it's such a huge transformation for us that, and it's like every time we do something macam kita kena make sure is this consistent or not to sell, because at the end of the day kita kena buat sales kan, so we always have to choose natural dye. So we've done a lot of natural dye plants, but we use local. So we've done daun mempelam, we've done we actually did daun duku also, but there isn't color. We do a lot of exploration dekat the studio. We've done apa tu buah we've done with nangka, but not the fruit, the bark, because the bark, and it's very funny because if you want to do nangka, you have to find the nangka pokok and you have to ask do you want to tebang this pokok, you know, something like that, because there's not many nangka pokok kan. And yeah, that itu natural dye dia punya ni lah, to get the plant to or the pokok or the tree and all that. They did that. You have to find the tree and the yeah. So anything else, Ida?
Yeah. For like this kinds of natural color, it won't like leave some the smell on the batik.
No smell.
No, is it?
No smell.
Yeah.
But the process of making the dye, yeah, there is smell.
Oh.
Yeah, and even when I learned that day with my Tok Guru, he even said that there are some plants that when you make, because maybe sometimes we like to explore so much, there's certain plants that you can't make dyes because it will disrupt or disturb your health system. So what happened, he shared one story. He did one plant, I can't remember what it is, so he fainted when he was doing the dye because dia terus ke you punya dia memang health, dia ada kena mengena with our health system. Yeah, so like kalau kita buat macam pokok paya bakar, they say it's good for people if you wear the natural dye, contohnya like a natural dye scarf or baju, it actually cools down or protect you or makes you calm down. Dia memang ada effect tu. It's just that it's just hard for us to understand because we think that it's just a natural plant, but dia punya benefit memang ada dekat diri kita.
Ada benefit kan. The next question is like what is the stage of the batik produce like? What is the preparation work, and how about
for natural dye or
for natural dye, like the preparation work, how they are processed and how you sell the batiks?
For instance lah, kalau it depends what you're using. So I just give you an example like kulit manggis. Kulit manggis, you can use the fresh ones after you eat. You can boil them or you can let it dry. There is an effect when you leave it to dry and or you want to use it fresh. Usually they said the one that is left to dry a long time, that one has more color, it's more intense like that. But I just use sometimes the fresh ones because I'm impatient. So I'll use that. And yeah, you can
So it will produce purple lah, Nysa.
no, it does not produce purple, even though it looks like it's such a gorgeous color dekat dalam tu kan. Yeah, no, because they depend dekat natural fixer. They depend on how many manggis you put inside the pot. So the process is you boil the fruit for, let's say, a small wouldn't say a small pot, macam big pot jugalah yang for just nice to put on your cooking stove. That one maybe you have to cook maybe 2 to 3 hours. Why? Because you have to boil it in such a way that afterward they can reduce and you get the pati. So when you get the pati, then that's the dyeing, that's the natural dye part kan. Then you have your cloth pula. For your cloth, you have to choose you want to make what kind of cloth. And there is 2 types of cloth. Cloth that is plant-based, like cotton, and then the other cloth that is animal-based, like silk, kan? So these 2 different methods because the way you fix it is different. Like for cottons, it's like this way. For synthetic, is this way. They're not the same. Okay. They are the different effects. So macam the effect it take place at the end part, baru kita nampak effect dia when you fix with the fixer. Why? Because the natural fixer actually protects the color from fading, and it actually gives that end product punya color. Maybe your kain actually when you dye for overnight, it will become like a light beige, but when you fix with, like example, with kapur, it will be brown, or it will be pink, or it depend on the natural fixer, macam tu. So it's a very easy step. You just boil your fruits, you put the cloth, and then you have to use a natural fixer. That's all. It's very easy.
Nysa, I noticed that are you live from your studio?
Yes, I'm at the studio.
Okay, I think it would be quite nice for the students to actually see your working space. I noticed this is a place, this looks like an open space behind you.
Yes, actually my house has been evolving throughout the years. Sebab because of me lah, daripada my mother-in-law, she was alive until she's not alive anymore. I mean, she's not around until now. It's evolving every single year. It evolves because of what I do. So
you have a separate, like you.
yeah, it's outside where I made the batik. Is where I made the batik is all outside. But last time when I first started, it was all in my kitchen, my wooden kitchen. But the house, after my mother-in-law passed away, we alhamdulillah ada rezeki, kita renovate. So no more doing things in the kitchen, everything is outside. And then but you know, with MCO all macam kita tak boleh nak renovate fully. So adalah some tempat yang dia tak siap lah, but okay lah for now. So I have a space for chanting. Last time I didn't have, and then I have a place to do, you know, there's a little bit more space stretch lah. Just that last time is too small.
Will you be showing us the spaces of your studio?
Yeah, you can see. I'll be sure. You want to see now or?
I don't know.
Yes, we prefer to see the process.
Okay.
To see the process how to make. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Wait. This is the hold on. My cat. Hold on. Check. Okay, I'll show you from the beginning lah. Last time, I did it from my house, from the stove, but now, I had this one space here where I have one frame saja dulu at first. But now I have 4 artisans. So now we make a space for them. So it's actually at the side of the house. Yeah, this is my house. This is my bedroom is here. So I can see them making from my window. I always shout at them, semua daripada tingkap je, senang. So this is where they are hand blocking. They're not here because we can't really work closely kan because of COVID. So kita is empty lah now. They have a shift, but then kita tengok keadaan lah macam mana when we do work kan. So if you can see, this is where they hand block.
Nysa, the
Yeah.
hand block too you design, right? So do
Yeah.
you send it to someone else to actually
Yes. I don't make the blocks. There is an old pakcik ala tua dah yang buat block maker, semua very old, all white hair. Yeah, but they are very skilled.
very skillful, yeah.
Yeah, they're so skilled because macam sometimes I want a certain design and macam it doesn't come out the way that I wanted. So after the years, they understand, they know what I want because they're so skillful. They understand how many apa macam block making tu tembaga kan. So
Yes.
dia tahu dah
How many layers
I nak
inside,
I nak yang macam mana, I nak the thickness. The problem is always the thickness of the wax. Macam thickness kita ada architectural pen. Or bila kita buat drawing kan, kita nak 0.7, 0.1. Dia dah tahu dah. Yeah, it's quite similar with working drawing. Yeah, but it's tembaga lah. So this is where they work. So you can see everything's open and everything kita ada tall apa ni ceiling height and then yang ni tempat diorang cat. Can you see Yeah. So dekat sini every day we can do actually in a very good day macam 15 sets of batik is very good from morning until afternoon. So I'll show you some blocks here.
What about during monsoon, Nysa? If it's monsoon,
monsoon is
change your working space or this would still be your working space?
Monsoon, what happened is that's why kita nak renovate the studio, kita nak letak wall sikit. Because the problem when it rains, the wind brings the rain into the studio. So when it's really bad, because when monsoon, there are days when dia memang tak stop. Dia non-stop rain from pagi sampai malam. The whole day lah, it's like raining and raining. That time, dulu kalau macam betul-betul everyday macam tu, diorang memang tak mari kerja. Because their place is also affected.
Yeah.
They cannot lalu. There's no jalan to lalu because of dia banjir. Usually kalau monsoon yang teruk, kalau banjir kita tahu tempat artisan kita banjir, that means teruk lah. So they don't work lah.
That means in your future planning, one of your future planning would be to have some kind of like a half covered space to cater during.
Yeah. There I thought macam there's space where kita open, there's some space kita tutup to work during monsoon. That's what I had in mind lah, but it's not there yet. But we do what we can with what we have, and alhamdulillah we are okay. We say monsoon walaupun kita tak kerja kan. So it's okay because we have made the stocks earlier. Kalau dekat Terengganu, kalau monsoon, sebelum monsoon, actually everyone dah prepare their stock. Not just batik maker. Macam like the fishermen, they know already kan. So they know what to do already. So that's the same for us. We actually alert ourselves that okay, we have to prepare this, we have to do this before the monsoon comes. Macam tu. And the monsoon memang dia ada petanda dia lah. So kita tahulah bila macam tu. Throughout the year, we know when the rain season, sometimes before Raya Haji, sometimes before Raya Cina, sometimes before dia ada dia punya
It's the pattern that you guys are accustomed to.
Yes. It may seem like macam kita tak boleh buat batik, but actually kita dah prepare dah.
Yeah, because your business is very much related to the climate, kan?
Weather, yeah. Kalau macam tak cukup matahari, tak cukup, nanti the color not the same. So I always have this problem kalau I ada bulk order, like they don't get the batik the same color, even it's from the same dye container. They think that I'm not doing the same color, but actually it's not that, it's the weather. So it's very like you say lah, very climate based our work ni.
So the space that you showed behind just now where they would do the batik, this is where they would dry the batik as well?
Yeah, dry the batik, yeah, also, yeah. But it depends, sometimes kita kena tempat lain sebab banyak sangat, kadang-kadang kalau banyak order, kita kena macam add kat tempat lain. Kadang-kadang tak ada order macam tu kan. So dia tempat nak sidai batik ni, it depends. It can be anywhere.
It can be anywhere. That means that you can, if
we have
then you can erect them easily.
Yeah, we have a drying rack, a main drying rack. But if too much order or macam musim hujan banyak sangat tak kering kan, so it's flooded with batik. So we have to use our frames like that. There's a way lah we do it. Sometimes to fasten, to make the drying process faster, we even like put fire bawah batik to evaporate the dye. Because there's no sunshine.
Do you have
enough
any
sunlight.
indoor spaces that you use for your production, or your production is
when everything is outside, but when the weather is really bad, macam kalau ada canting order yang terpaksa buat, kena buat juga, I'll do it inside my house. But usually I wouldn't because it's very tricky. Everything is easier outside.
So if you were to do it indoors, would you think that an open space would be much preferred? Like, for example, like like an uninterrupted space would be much preferred rather than, because when you do inside, I imagine that it's a house, right? So therefore there'll be a lot of
open. I suka open. Sebab we're dealing with wax, and I don't really like the smell of it. Not that I don't like, but macam it's a bit claustrophobic kadang-kadang. So I memang work outside dari dulu.
Anyone has any question to ask?
I saw some questions. How do I go to the questions?
The chat.
Chat button.
The chat. Wait lah.
Yes.
There are some questions. Yeah, sorry. The chat. Okay. Okay, I'll just answer. Muhammad Nairozi. What are the stages of batik production? I think I
think that was answered before, right?
Yeah, it's very simple. Macam tadi lah, kita hand block. No, sorry. Kita ada this part here. This one kita prepare the cloth. It may seem like a white cloth, tapi this is where we measure the cloth. Kita ada this one nail kat sini. And then kita ada another nail kat sana. Because takkan nak potong kain on the table kan. It's very hard. So we use this system dari dulu sampai sekarang. The nail system. So we just cut from bottom and to up. So that's our first. But for natural dye is another process. It's more tedious to prepare because we have to boil the kain. But for batik dyes, you don't have to. So the first process is this. We have to prepare the cloth, and then we make the wax. Macam ni ada wax kat sini. Kita ada dua. Kita ada socker, we call it here. And then we have paraffin. We mix these two things, and then it becomes, the socker is actually to glue it together. The paraffin is like normal candle wax tu yang putih, and then you mix it together it becomes the lilin, and there's a certain ratio to it to make the that is suitable for batik making. And then we have this table to do the hand blocking process. Kita ada take the block, and then we have table ni, terap table ni. So terap table ni kita ada sponge. Sponge ni is very cool. Dia ada water inside. So what happen is kita block. Kita ada hand blocking system where we use a hot pan dengan hot wax dekat sini. And then kita block, kain letak atas ni. And then when kita block, dia akan cool down immediately. Bila dia cool down immediately, dia macam dah jadi satu motif yang dah diterap lah. So that is process preparing the cloth and then hand blocking system. And then dah siap block. Okay. Dah siap block macam ni. Tergantung. Nampak?
Oh, you have to hang it, yeah, Nysa.
Yeah, we hang, but there's no, kita tak nak buat macam on the ground. Some people they put like kayu in front of them, but kat Nysakapas we hang because it's easy. And we use pipe frames, then we just hang it. So this is bila dah siap, semua gantung kat sini, dia ikut order. And then come to the painting process. So painting process, dia ada this macam paku kat sini, one end to the other.
The nail system lah. The same nail system is being used.
Ya, kalau kain senang dia paku sebab kita kena stretch dia. Bila kita potong kain, kita kena stretch dia betul baru potong. Bila kita paint, kita kena stretch dia betul-betul very stiff sebab bila kita cat, kita tak nak ada lines. That's how we get flawless batik for yang even out, tak nampak apa-apa line. Sebab throughout the years ada some methods kita buat tak betul, that's why kita ada line. And not everyone wants the line, everyone wants a flawless batik. So this is a natural thing that everyone wants a very good quality batik, but that's why kita kena jaga kita punya step.
So technically, when if there is a line, it's like that means that if you don't have any line, like it looks like one piece nicely colored, then it's a quality standard lah.
Yes.
There's no like different
But,
like berbelak-belak lah orang kata.
Tapi banyak dia punya yang membuat dia bagus lah batik tu. Tak semestinya kat hand painting lah proses. Tapi semua step dia kena betul. That's why kalau my artisans, I notice when their work is not properly done kan, I have to ask them what happened personally. Because it's art. It's not like computer thing, So kita kena tanya what happened to the batik macam tu. Or kita tanya kenapa the hand blocking jadi macam ni. There is something that they did that because I've already taught them well, I think. So there's something that they did that they missed out or something, or maybe because bila kita buat art kan dengan jiwa kita kan, if we tak jiwa tak betul kan macam tak jadi. So that's why kita when you say batik tu how is it macam good quality kan, macam mana nak produce kan, dia bukan dekat satu step or dia banyak sangat. It also depends on the artisan. Artisan, that's why artisan ni, that's why we call it artisanal batiks, because it's man-made, because they are made in a good state of mind. So it's very different from machine printing where you just press the button or, it's very different. So we also have this, the coloring process. Color fixing. Kat sini. Yeah, dia macam gel. And then we have here the collar, and then kita ada, sekejap ya, kita ada tempat rebus tu. Tempat rebus ni nampak macam tu je kan, but they're very technical. Because you have to find the wood, you have to pecahkan the kayu, you have to make the fire. It takes a long time to get the fire. You know how you make fire, you need a lot of time, and then to reach that boiling temperature. So it's a lot. And then how you're going to boil each batik at one go at that day, you know. Macam it doesn't look like kita boil from the stove. Because when you boil from the kayu, is a lot of hard work. So that's why it's very hard nak cakap yang Ida tanya good quality tu dekat mana, sebab dia dekat semua stage. And if they miss,
it's sequence that you must achieve.
yeah, and even here it can go wrong at the boiling, at the last part, till the last part lah, there is a problem. So good quality batik ni, kalau kita dah bukan defeat, macam kita dah go through all the steps, the process, and then kita dah selesai, and then after boiling kita tengok dia good quality, baru masa tu kita tahu good quality batik tu, after rebus sahaja.
It must be using wood ni, Haniza.
Yes, kita, but usually during monsoon kita ada juga macam kita pakai gas. Tapi gas dia costly lah. Dia cepat sangat dia habis gas.
Oh, because it takes a long time, is it, to boil it?
Yes, to get that temperature, dia kena bubble, macam ada buih tu, blub tu, that one correct lah. Sebab nak remove the wax, if you don't get it to the right temperature, dia akan dia still ada dekat kain. Yeah, dia still ada dekat kain. Yes. So it's a lot of hard work.
Fang Yan was asking, is there any challenges you and your team face when running a small business in Malaysia?
Yes, so of course, because I think because we're making handmade batiks, but I always tell myself, I tell my team this all the time, that we are special. We are not like any other batik makers. We are special in our own way. We are unique like that. I tell them that because there's a lot of other people yang buat batik juga kan. There's so much competition. There's so many amazing artisans that do better work than us, and kita ni macam baru start, can say 7 years. There's artisans that have experience like 20 more. They're like macam, you know, macam kalau tengok kat Nysakapas ni macam kacang lah kot, tak tahulah. Tapi I always tell them whatever it is, we are unique in our own way. So that keeps us going lah. Like we try to be, not to say we want to be different from other batik makers, but I think we are our own identity dah macam tu dah. Macam tu. The way we make batik is not the same as the other people also.
How many I think Irfan was asking like among what is the bestseller design. My interest would be how many patterns do you blocks that you produce every year, or it depends.
For how many in 1 year? In 1 year kita buat satu collection. Kalau kita bagus, kita boleh buat 2 collection. Tapi macam since COVID ni kita buat satu saja. That means only one collection je boleh buat, because it took me months, boleh dikatakan, to just create one collection, because I have to think from January to December to the next collection. Usually people, even fashion industries, they have probably 2 collection. Tapi that's why I say kalau very good, we have 2 collection, but macam sekarang we have 1 only throughout the year. So dekat 1 ni kita ada 3 main motifs, okay? So 3 main motifs, but kita boleh explore dia. So example, kita boleh ada macam satu collection in one single colours, but we can also mix the motifs together, and we can also macam paint it differently. So it may be like, okay, this collection is a little bit different, but it's still the same batik motifs that she's using, but it looks a little bit different in this way. So sometimes I do it like that. I've done that in 2017 when I just actually hand blocking system, tapi saya buat canting system macam tu when I did white base batiks, tapi the flower was colorful, which is very hard to do. It's crazy because white batiks are so beautiful, but they're so hard to make. They're so hard to find. They're so pure. They're just like the white batik. It's the white without terap, without color. They're so pure. There's no hard to do.
Expensive?
Yes. Because we charge according to dia punya apa? We charge according to how difficult it is to make lah, macam tu. Yeah. Everything is based on the difficulty of hand blocking or hand painting like that. The more colors you see, the more expensive, but not necessarily. The white batiks are very hard to make too.
There's one more question. I think
Yeah.
Haniza Nordin. Can you see Nysa?
Yeah, wait, hold on. Haniza Nordin, yes.
Hi. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Haniza, is it?
Yeah. So I'm also a lecturer in UCSI, but I'm teaching semester 2. So there's a good friend of mine who's like a big fan of you. So she asked me to pass you this question. So
okay.
yeah, I'll just read again from the chat box.
Yeah.
Salam Haniza. Firstly, I just want to say that I'm so appreciative of your sharing on batik journey, and when I joined Nysakapas Telegram group, it was wonderful to receive updates in the studio and your natural dye stories. So I was inspired by your spiritual experience when you also reflect on natural material process and its ephemeral beauty. The question is, may I ask what made you decide to reach out to your audience via Telegram? Are you still open to share via Telegram?
Okay.
Sorry, Banja.
No, I can explain this because I have some people asking me that. Dia macam ni, I had this one time, you know lah, it's so hard to be consistent sometimes, especially the pandemic kan. So I had this one time, I felt very stuck. Tak silap saya Telegram tu last year saya buat, and I wanted it macam whatever I'm going through, saya record saya punya voice and then saya cerita. So that was I think I buat Telegram tu before I did the botanic collection, because I nak cerita I punya day to day, not day to day lah, just update by voice or by video, but not what you see on. I wanted it to be something different. I didn't want it like macam dekat IG, you know, dekat IG kan macam very dia ada IG scheme kan. For the Telegram, I wanted it like, if you wanted to know more personal things about me on how I do like the collection, because when I did the botanic, I refer to some books, but I cannot show it all on Instagram feed kan. Takkan like everything nak upload, so it's so hard. And because the timeline for the Instagram pun kita ada organize kita punya timeline, so takkanlah nak muat everything in the timeline and then you want to make sale. It's so hard. So that's where the Telegram, that was the reason why I did the Telegram, but I got sidetracked because the difficulty that I was going through last year. It was very hard lah. Last year different from this year. This year is more tough, tapi kita dah go through last year kan. So macam this year kita, you know, macam a bit stronger. We can understand COVID macam mana kan, macam tu. But last year tak pernah tahu COVID ni apa. So got sidetracked a bit when the botanic collection was launched, and then people loved it so much, then we were focusing those, so then I got sidetracked. I didn't update more. But that was what my my intention was for the Telegram, was to share, because I was sharing my notes on how I did the batik mawar. Why? Because I found this short description from this book, so I linked them to this book, and they were the Telegram people, the users were they liked that, the personal part of it, of my journey, I think. Shared my natural dye dekat dalam tu. So inshallah, if I can, I will continue my Telegram. If I have the time, inshallah.
Thank you for the answer. I think that really answered well.
You're welcome, Haniza. Kin salam to your friend.
Inshallah.
Ada fan, Nysa.
Yeah.
She has a lot of fans, you know.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. They keep me going. The fans, I'm not sure why they are very, very intimate with me. Because dekat DMs sometimes too much, macam bukan I nak cakap sales tu banyak because DMs tu banyak, bukan. They are telling me their intimate sharing with what they learn from me.
Nice.
And I don't know why it's become, sometimes it's every day they talk to me about their feelings. Sometimes it doesn't really relate to batik, but it relates to the journey of life, like that. Because truthfully, I'd like to share with UCSI, my batik journey is not something I planned on. I thought I would become an architect, but I didn't. But I was given another chance to become something better and more suitable to me, like that. So batik is very me. If you ask me now, batik is, me. Architecture, learning that was something like a tool for me to succeed now. So macam, if you are a university student and you feel like you have some difficulty masa ni, or there's something that you're passionate about right now, it's something that it will be in your future. You may never know that actually this is why you have to go through this space. It's a journey. That's why a lot of people macam they yang followers, batik lovers, I call them, they very intimate with me because they understand me, where I come from, very city life, and then I have to become a kampung girl, it's very hard for me, but they understand. So when I don't speak Terengganu, they laugh at me, but they understand me, they're very understanding, but they keep me going. All these batik lovers, because I think they want to be a part of Nysakapas. I think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of batik making. Yeah, the title of today is The Beauty of Handmade Batik. It brings people together. It brought me to know my artisans. I wouldn't know that I would have to mix around with the Kampung people. Now the Kampung people come to see what I am doing, which is very weird because I'm not from here. I was criticized a lot for my work because they all did not believe that I did it. Even some, truthfully, some thought that I sent it to another batik maker. But no, I did it all from scratch. From my own kitchen with my children, I gendong my anak and I learned it from scratch. I didn't know how to use the wax. I got to learn a little bit when I visit some batik makers, but even then the batik makers, they don't want to share because I'm an outsider. I'm not from here, but I manage, and I don't know lah. I just did it my way. So yeah. So that's if you're a university student and you're struggling, and you think that nothing makes sense now, but it will make sense inshallah later when you didn't think that it would. Yeah.
Thank you, Nysa, for the
You're
sharing,
welcome.
everyone. Thank you, Nysa, for the very insightful sharing in terms of your business, in terms of your journey.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me.